guys, welcome back to the Chamber Guys channel. Joining us today is the president of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Indonesia-Portugal, also known as CCIIP, engineer Elidio Sorodio. Established to be a strategic interface between the Portuguese and Indonesian economies, CCIIP has been instrumental in boosting cooperation and business opportunities between the two countries since 2012. Engineer Sorodio's leadership has been pivotal in nurturing these bilateral relations. With a focus on sustainable economic growth, technological innovation, and cross-cultural integration, CCIIP, under Engineer Sorodio's guidance, is setting new standards in international commerce. Without further ado, let's dive right in and discuss about the dynamic Indonesia-Portugal business landscape and explore strategies for success in today's global economy. Engineer Sorodio, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I believe we met just over a year ago at the Portugal Embassy in Indonesia. Now,
exactly.
Engineer Sorodio, one of the main aims of the CCIIP is to strengthen ties between Indonesia and Portugal. When it comes to balancing economic growth in both countries with sustainable business practices, what would you say are practical strategies for success in today's business world?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you that our Chamber of Commerce started a very special relationship with Indonesia that for different political reasons, we were far apart. Not only distance-wise, but I mean, Portugal has been in many countries like Brazil, and my company is in Macau, Hong Kong, etc. But so it was a very interesting thing. The only thing is that, in fact, although there is a lot more companies interested in dealing with Indonesia, we still have not achieved a major point of big cooperation. That's why the Chamber is very active.
Right. Now, reflecting on Portugal's investment in the floating solar project in Batam, what insights can viewers gain into your role in tackling climate change while promoting economic ties between the two nations?
Well, climate change and sustainability is, of course, the words today in, let's say, in fashion, but in reality. And in Portugal is very keen on those things for many years. That's why we have a lot of energy from different sources, and we closed down actually some of the refineries and coal factories, producing energy. And in fact, we are trying to do some more work with a major country like Indonesia. And that's why the Chamber is looking for possibilities for a lot of Portuguese companies to go to Indonesia and invest there. Of course, vice versa as well. We have some Indonesian activities here, but mostly is in fishing. Actually, it's a lot of people from Indonesia who are working in our North Sea fishing vessels. But Portugal is very keen in that, and the Chamber is promoting that, of course, with our members.
Great. We will go into that a little bit more detail, just further up a little bit. Now, with Portuguese investment growing in Indonesia, tell us, how does CCIIP handle cultural and regulatory differences for smooth business integration? And how do these efforts align with innovative approaches for growth and sustainability?
Okay, well, we'll try the best with our members. Many members understand, of course, the different culture of the countries. But I think both business, cultural is not so important, to tell the truth. All they want is to sell or to move there, to make their factories in Indonesia. Energy as well. We want to also to bring, of course, Indonesian companies into Portugal. We had several visits here as well, even of some other came to Portugal to see, because we have lots of ports and shipyards and so on. And they were very interested in seeing this, because this has been one of our fields, the sea has been always a, last 500 years in our history. So there is some interest. Culturally speaking, they're very, very keen in understanding the culture of Indonesia, which is very different from ours. But that's only a small part of our business people. Business people try to sell something or to buy something, and that's basically what they are joining the chamber for that. So I think it's a understandable area, but we have to get reality in real terms, because the members are real. They are doing interested thing. Even if you want to propose something different, they say, yes, but I want just to buy this. I want just to go there for Bali or something. Okay, we're going to make a mission this year to Indonesia from Portugal, and maybe you can join from Singapore to meet us there, because we're going to have a relatively big, maybe 30 people going there.
Right.
Yeah. So we want to learn more, but we want people to understand what is some people, they have been very few times there or no time. Some of the members are new, and we want to take them there.
Great. I will get in touch with you with regards to more information about that trip to Portugal.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And from Portugal to Indonesia, but of course you are welcome to come to Portugal as well, of course. But there is a trip actually. I think Kadin from Indonesia is coming to Portugal I think in February. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Dubai at that time, and so I'm not going to meet them. But of course, our other directors will be with them. But
right. I believe we are in touch with Kadin as well in
yes.
Jakarta. Right.
Okay.
Right. Now, let's talk about the import of Indonesian palm oil. Given Portugal's increased import of Indonesian palm oil, I believe the latest statistics I was looking at, 2019 to 2022, there was a 77% increase. How does CCIIP address economic and environmental concerns in international trade? And what innovative strategies are being implemented for sustainable trade?
Well, sustainable trade is always fantastic when you talk about theory. In practice, people look into their businesses. Sustainability, of course, for them is sustainability of business, but not so much for the environment. So palm oil is used a lot everywhere in the world, as you know, for different things, including soaps, as you know, and it's apparently cheap to buy it from Indonesia, and I'm sure Portugal is also doing the same. We don't have any members in that field for different reasons. They didn't join us. We have more technologies like this vision box that is finally managed to get the contracts in for the passport control at the airports. But this type of imports of oil or something like this, they didn't join us still. So we have a limited, let's say, possibility of influencing anybody on that field. Yeah.
Right. Now, how is the CCIIP's fostering joint ventures in renewable energy between Indonesia and Portuguese companies? And tell us what societal benefits are emerging from these sustainable initiatives.
Well, although EDP is not still a member of the chamber, they are members in my other chamber of China and the Pro Forum that they are the presidents of that. And I've been, because I'm in between all of them, I've been trying to bring that field into the discussion. And of course, EDP is a big investor everywhere in the world, not only because they have now a part of China Three Gorges as their shareholder, but because they were always, open to renewable energies, and everywhere. everywhere in Spain to Indonesia, as you can see through their office in Singapore, actually.
Right. Now, with the CCIIP's emphasis on developing a renewable energy ecosystem in Indonesia, what are the anticipated benefits and obstacles? And tell us, how does the Chamber plan to utilize innovation for successful outcomes?
Well, we want to bring that theme into our members, and also, especially today, I'm having the board meeting of Proforum, which is the one managed by whose director I passed from my position to EDP, and we have EDP and REN, which are energy companies, and we've been talking about this as well, and to see if we can join efforts to for a global a type of cooperation to attract members, because if we have the members, we can talk with them. If we don't, okay, we can make conferences, invite some non-members, and like yesterday we had, and then attract them for this effort of not only promote business between the two countries, which is basically what the chambers of commerce do, and then discuss this type of environmental and energy items, because they're very important.
Right. Engineer Sorodio, based on your experience, how is the CCIIP balancing traditional partnerships with new innovative collaborations? And tell us what strategies are employed to manage diverse alliances and to stimulate growth.
That's a good question, but I don't have the answer, because we're trying to bring innovation and so on. But basically, people from innovation, they don't join chambers of commerce. It's mostly
right.
Okay, if it's a big company of EDP and so on, of course they will. But normally it's trade, and as you know, in Indonesia, Bali means tourism, means maybe investment into real estate and so on. Innovation, unfortunately, we don't have any company in our membership that look into that. While, for example, the Chamber of Commerce of China has a lot of these companies, because China is a big country, and obviously it's let's say very old relationship with China. Here in the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce, we still didn't manage to bring anybody into innovation or energies and so on. It's difficult. It's difficult to attract them. Of course, we can have talks about that in our conferences. We do regularly, but we have to have the audience, and the audience we have is mostly members and some guests, but not so turn into this type of items, which are very important, of course, but right. I don't see them with that interest yet.
Okay, it will happen.
Yeah,
I'm sure I look forward. Yes. I look forward to that. Now, let's talk about circular economy. As a focus shifts towards the circular economy, could you highlight specific CCIIP's initiatives aimed at reducing environmental impact, and how have these efforts influenced corporate culture in both Indonesia and Portugal?
Well, that's another item which is very interesting, but unfortunately, we don't have anybody who's interested in a circular economy and so on, which of course are the words of today's discussions in big forums, but not right. so much in chambers of commerce. I see even in China Chamber of Commerce or Angolan Chamber of Commerce, I don't see those items talked. Although, for example, Angola has lots of problems of that, and has resources, oil and so on, like Indonesia, but they don't talk about this. So it's a difficult item, but of course we try to bring people to talk about those things and put some of the members more, aware of that. because normally these items, even in Chamber of Commerce in China, where we have lots of members, almost 100 different members, they don't talk about those things. They're talking about trade, conferences, trips, but environment and so on. It's not a thing that the chambers of commerce are really able to discuss. This is a reality. I'm not. I can of course say.
Yeah. I do understand because sometimes it is a little bit sensitive. Like, for example, for me as a chamber guy, I do not talk about war. I do not talk about politics. I don't talk about religion. But however, I do appreciate that you do place importance in this, and you are looking forward to every opportunity that you get. You are looking forward to bringing this up. Unfortunately, at this point in time, either there's not much interest in this, or the topic at this point is still very sensitive, because I do understand a lot of companies are still greenwashing, which is a big problem even here in Singapore. Sure. Yeah. So
no, it's a reality, and I mean, every time we try to bring, and especially in a Proform, it's easier. It's another association I have, but it's big companies, and they talk about that very low. I would say 1% we talk about this. We have big companies, even construction companies and the energy companies and so on. And although they have some laboratory of research and so on, like EDP and RAN, but it's not an item that they discuss on a regular basis. In fact, today, as we're having the meeting of Proform, I'm going to raise that question, because it's something that everybody talks about. All the media has things about this, and then when we talk about, it's more on a daily basis. Kind of what can we propose for the government to have more a new airport or something, and not concerned about that point. But that's a very good thing that I'm going to talk today at the meeting that Francis is proposing. Let's say I would say that somebody from Singapore is proposing this on this Indonesian relationship.
Thank you. Now, finally, one last question. What practical advice would you give to businesses navigating turbulences in this current economic climate? We are going through the geopolitical tensions, wars. Generally, it's uncertain. The market is uncertain. Now, overcoming challenges, how do companies overcome challenges, and what can they do to thrive globally?
No, that's a very, very good question. It is really one thing that people talk about, as you say, even the wars and the supply of oil and gas and big things that we're trying to move out of that, but still we are very dependent on that. And the wars proved that as well. Prices are growing tremendously because of this instability. And I do hope that Asia does not get one up north of your people, Indonesia and so on. Mostly I'm talking about Taiwan. And we have to be sure that we are in the right environment. So that's it. Yeah.
Right. I do have one final question. That was the final question, but we have a little bit of time. I just want to ask you this. If I were able to send you back 20 years in time, 20 years, it could be in Portugal, it could be in any part of the world, what is that one thing that you would change?
In my behavior or in my business?
In the world.
In the world.
Not personally, in the world. What would you change?
It's a very complicated thing. Politically speaking, there is always a trend of people trying to, first of all, beat somebody else in terms of a business or in terms of import, export. So there's a competition. There's a world competition, economic competition.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when this moves somehow to the left, I would say, you suddenly have countries starting a war for ridiculous things. Ridiculous in a sense that it's not economic thing only. Mm. Mostly it's not. Like Middle East, it's not economic. It's just it's a very difficult situation of typical even religious thing. When I say, listen, we have all the same God. All these religions have the same God. Only the Buddhists don't have a God, but all the others have. And why do we fight with the same God in our? So it's very difficult. But business people, they try to move out. Okay, maybe they will take advantage of that. If you sell weapons, of course, that's a big field. But a typical engineering or environment or energy company does not get involved into these things, and they try to avoid.
That brings us to the end of a truly insightful conversation. I extend my heartfelt thanks to you, Engineer Surodio, for sharing your valuable insights and expertise with our viewers. Your leadership in fostering the Indonesia-Portugal business relationship through the CCIIP is truly commendable. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just heard from Engineer Elidio Surodio, the President of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry Indonesia-Portugal, who provided us with an in-depth understanding of the evolving business dynamics between the two nations. As we conclude this session, I encourage our audience to stay engaged with the Chamber Guys channel for more enlightening discussions with global business leaders. These conversations are pivotal in shaping our perspectives on the complex world of international trade and cooperation. For more details or to connect with the CCIIP, please check the links provided below this video. Your questions, comments, and support for their initiatives are always welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with the latest insights and trends in global business. I'm Francis Michael, and it has been a pleasure guiding you through this insightful journey. Join us again next week, for another deep dive into the world of business. Until then, stay informed, stay motivated, and stay connected. I'll see you soon on The Chamber Guy.